Have you ever wished that trading came with a cheat code, something that could help you generate returns daily, weekly, or even monthly? I used to think that the edge came from just grinding harder, looking at more charts, checking more indicators, just generally more screen time. But the longer I did this and the more people that I've actually worked with, the clearer it's become. And that's that people making consistent money, they don't actually work harder at all. They're simply playing a different game. Just take a look at this live trading screenshot from August through to January. And what matters here is the shape of the equity curve. Notice how it stays controlled, steadily moving up and to the right throughout different market conditions. And that's not the result of prediction, it's the result of a system designed to manage volatility and, of course, enforce its rules. So today I want to show you how to think about trading like a game that makes money all the time, no matter what the market is doing. And if you stay until the end of the video, the one cheat code that's going to quietly flip the odds in your favor for good. So imagine two people are playing the same video game. Player one is raw talent. He's got fast reflexes and a high IQ, and they're reacting to everything in real time, every enemy, every surprise, every ambush. And player two, on the other hand, he looks kind of lazy. They barely touch the controller. Why? Because before the game even started, they studied the map. They set auto defenses, they programmed routines, and they locked in rules that execute perfectly every single time. So when chaos hits player one, he panics because he's trusting his gut and he's relying on emotion to drive him. Whereas player two, he just watches the system do the work. And trading is exactly like that. Most traders are trying to react to the market in a live environment, and the profitable ones, they've already designed the game so that their reactions, they don't matter at all. So we don't start by asking, how do we predict the market better? We start with a much harder question. And the question is, how do we design a system that still works if humans can fail? Because markets don't break traders, execution does. And most traders are trying to outreact the market. The profitable ones design the game so reactions just simply don't matter. Now, if we strip trading down to its fundamentals, this is really the real divide. Not between winners and losers, but between people who rely on themselves in the moment and people who remove themselves from the moment entirely. So designing a trading system is not about finding the perfect indicator or the smartest entry. It's about accepting a hard truth early, that humans are the least reliable component in any kind of trading environment. We hesitate, we override, we rationalize, and markets are very good at punishing those exact weaknesses. So if you're serious about long-term profitability, the question is going to be no longer, how do I trade better? It's going to be, how do I design something that trades for me? So let's look at the design principles that would govern this kind of system. So design principle one is to build systems that react, never to predict. Now, prediction is seductive because it feels intelligent. It's amazing to guess which way the market is going and to listen to people that think they can. It gives you a story about why something should happen, but markets, they don't actually reward this kind of intelligence. They reward alignment with reality. And a well-designed system never tries to guess what's coming next, because to be honest, that's impossible. It only responds to what is already happening. That means entries are not opinions, they're actual conditional responses. And exits, therefore, are not convictions, they are mechanical outcomes. So when you design this way, being right, it actually stops mattering. The system does not need foresight, it only needs the rules that adapt as price reveals information. This single shift from prediction to reaction removes enormous psychological pressure and makes consistency absolutely possible. So the second design principle is to define risk before the trade begins. So most traders think they manage risk, whereas in reality, they negotiate with it once they're emotionally involved. So good system design makes that absolutely impossible. So before a trade even opens, the system must already know how much capital can be exposed, how scaling behaves if price moves against you, and where risk stops increasing, and what survival looks like under stress. Now, this is not something you decide mid-trade. The moment a trade is live, your judgment is going to be completely compromised. Risk must be locked in at the design level, not the execution level. When this is done correctly, losses stop feeling like failures, and you may not even experience losses at all, like the screenshot that I showed you, and we can take a look at that again now. As you can see, there's absolutely no losses in this equity curve. It's simply moving from the bottom left to the top right-hand corner. And this is because it has controlled outcomes. And that's just another part of playing the game. So let's look at design principle 3, and that's to treat volatility as fuel, not danger. So most trading systems secretly assume calm markets. They work beautifully until they don't, until volatility shows up and simply breaks them. And that's completely backwards because markets are volatile. A system that cannot function during expansion and contraction is not robust. It's actually fragile. A strong system design embraces volatility by structuring around it, by structuring for it, and using movement to improve position quality and, of course, to generate return. So what it's doing is it's allowing price to work with it without emotional interference. It's extracting gains from resolution and not prediction. And when volatility is built into the logic, drawdowns, they stop being emergencies. They become part of the process. That's one of the things of working with over 300 clients is originally, when people start out, they're so afraid of drawdowns, but drawdowns are part of the game, especially when you're dealing with volatile assets. And this is how systems survive long enough for probability to eventually work in favor. If you're scared of drawdowns, probability is not going to have the time to start working for you as well. So design principle 4 is to separate human judgment from execution. Now, to be honest, I think this is the most important principle and the one that most traders resist, because human judgment, it is valuable. We use it every single day, but human execution is not. Judgment belongs at the design phase, choosing the market, choosing the asset, defining risk parameters, structuring logic, stress testing assumptions. And then once execution begins, human input, it should absolutely end. A system that allows discretionary interference during trades is not a system, it's a suggestion. And suggestions completely fall apart under pressure. So when execution is automated and rule-bound, something remarkable starts to happen. And you'd see it yourself in your own trading account, is that performance becomes repeatable, just like in that trade that I showed you and the screenshot that we've already seen. It's repeatable, and repeatable performance is the only thing that's going to compound your account over and over again. Design principle 5 is to design for survival first and returns second. Now, this is where most people get the order wrong. Returns are absolutely meaningless without survival. I always say that 100% of nothing is still nothing. And survival is not achieved by optimism. It's achieved actually by the opposite, and that's constraint. A well-designed system assumes that there's going to be long periods of underperformance or maybe even no performance at all, that there's going to be unexpected market behavior, that there's going to be even extended volatility, and sometimes emotional fatigue. And the system will survive those conditions by design, not through hope. And only systems that survive long enough get access to that upside. Everything else is just noise. So where does this actually lead? Well, if you follow these principles to their logical conclusion, you end up with something very specific, and that's a system that does not rely on prediction. It controls risk mechanically. It uses volatility rather than fearing it. It removes emotional execution, and it prioritizes longevity over short-term gains. Now, this is not theory, and that is the exact design and philosophy behind the trading system that I built, and that is already being used by over 300 clients today. And here's the cheat code. It's an algorithm that has been stress tested over years across hundreds of different people with real capital on the line. One that has already been run live with 6, 7, and even 8 figures across different market regimes without relying on prediction or human intervention. So when you do that, trading stops being a test of discipline. It becomes simply a process. And processes are the only things that scale. And that's the game most traders never realize exists. And this is what naturally emerges when you take system design seriously and then refuse to compromise on execution. So for more than 3 years, this has been my full-time focus. And now you can get access to it if you are a right fit. My team operates across the United States, the United Kingdom, and Australia, bringing together quantitative research, engineering, and real-world capital deployment. We spent over $1 million in research, not to choose shiny ideas, but to stress test assumptions under real market conditions. And more importantly, we just don't talk about this from the sidelines. We've deployed 7 to 8 figures of capital running these systems ourselves, alongside client accounts through volatility, through drawdowns, and even regime shifts. And the system you're seeing isn't a backtest or a concept. It's something that has survived contact with reality, and we have the testimonials to prove it. And of course that matters because anyone can explain a strategy. Very few people can point to years of live execution, disciplined design, and real capital, their own capital, actually at risk. So if this way of thinking resonates, and if you're done trying to figure out the market yourself and you want exposure through a system that was built to remove human error rather than fight it, then the next step is really simple. Just use the description below, watch the video, and book a call with one of our team. This isn't a sales pitch. This is a real conversation about whether this system fits your capital, your goals, and of course, your risk tolerance. And if it does, we'll show you how to move forward. And if it doesn't, you'll walk away clearer than when you started. Either way, you'll finally be thinking about trading the way professionals do, not as a game of reactions, but as a system that you can actually trust.